We are hooked up, folks. Yes, we are. He is spinning me around, baby. Woo! Welcome to another 316 kayak adventure. Now, I was out under the bridge trying to get some redfish. It's a little bit slow of a bite today, and I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna need a bite to eat myself. So I figured I would stop by and kind of give you guys a review of my Old Town Sportsman Autopilot. Now, I have 4 of these. Of course, I do run that charter, the 316 Kayak Adventure Charter. So I do have a bunch, and they're all set up a little bit differently, and I have used all of them. Now, this is the one that I use personally, and if you'd like a tour, I will do an in-depth tour coming soon, but I did a fleet tour already on the channel if you want to know the names of all this extra stuff. But today we're mostly going to focus on what I think about the kayak itself, because I have fished out of $50 kayaks, $100 kayaks, $1,000, $2,000, all the way up to a basically $5,000 kayak. So I've tried pedal, paddle, everything. And let me tell you, they all have their different ins and outs, but this one I absolutely love. But let's talk about some of the general thoughts. First of all, it's a 12-foot. This is the Old Town Sportsman Autopilot 120, powered by a 45-pound thrust iPilot Minn Kota here on the remote, which is super awesome. You power it with your remote. It has 10 speed settings. Look at that. And look at that. There it goes. How freaking cool is that, dude? That is some cool stuff. Right now we're on setting 10, and I've pushed this thing with wind and current all the way up to 10 miles an hour. How freaking cool is that? But that's not it. So we'll drop it down, speed here, and you see it moving forward. I'm gonna hit spot lock. That's the virtual anchor. It's gonna stop, and it's gonna push us back to where I hit spot lock. So it connects to a satellite. It's going to be a virtual anchor for you. Regardless of wind, current, tide, any conditions, it will adjust its position and thrust to keep you within a 5-foot radius of wherever you hit it. So if you rolled over a nice hole, a good spot, or you just want to hold position on a windy day or with a lot of tidal movement like we get a lot, then it's really nice to have spot lock. As you can see, it's going to point into the direction of resistance. So it's just going to sit here. It'll sit here all freaking day, which is absolutely unbelievable. As you can see, I don't know if you can hear it, but the wind's picking up, the current's moving. Look, here, check this out. Look at all this stuff floating past this kayak. The kayak's not moving, baby. It's spot locked. Now, this is a feature on a lot of expensive trolling motors on the bow of fishing boats, but it is super, super cool to have this feature on a kayak. I am a huge, huge fan of spot lock. So we'll take it off here. We'll go ahead and back it up a little bit deeper. So some people will actually hit spot lock, run to their truck, back their trailer in, and put their kayak either in the bed of their truck or on the top of their car or whatever, but they'll use spot lock instead of tying it up. Personally, I don't recommend it. I don't trust it. I don't know how far the range is, and if I'm being honest, this is the very first time I have driven this kayak while not actually being in it. So it makes me a little bit nervous, but we're on the flats here, so it's super shallow. I can go get it, no problem. But that is unbelievable, folks. So cool. Ready? I'm going to stop it. We're going to hit spot lock. It says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's get back there. How freaking cool is that, folks? This is the main reason. This isn't the main reason. This is the reason I have 4 of these kayaks, and that's what we use here on the charter. Oh, I forgot. I'm not wearing swim trunks. All right, come here, buddy. Uncoil it. Drive it back here. Now, this is what I just wanted to show you before we got into the actual review, because this is the main event here. I want to get in on the other side. Bring it here, good sir. It's like your own valet. Look at that turn radius, too, and that's not even with using the rudder. And in case you're wondering, hey, Grayson, I don't want to have to steer by picking up my remote every single time. You don't have to, because you have a rudder. So most kayaks have rudders. You've got a rudder back there and the foot controls. That's how you adjust it with your feet. Go ahead and deploy our rudder. All right, so let's turn it up some speed here. We'll go all the way to speed 10. Now, of course, you can control it going left and right. That is one way to do it. Or you can leave your head straight and use the rudder to go left and right, as you can see. This is my preferred method. I will go about 1 mile an hour and power fish down a bank until I get into a school of whatever it is that I'm targeting or just want to stop. But what I'll do is I'll cast, retrieve, and move it around. Right now we're going full speed. We're going 4 miles an hour right now. Usually I'm going way less than that when I power fish, but it's super cool because it truly is hands-free fishing. And of course, if I hit spot lock, that would stop me here. And if, let's say, there is current right now. Of course, there's current, there's wind, there's a lot of different factors going on. So instead of having to constantly adjust my feet to keep me going straight or constantly going back and forth, no problem at all. Let's go ahead and hit north. And if I'm pointed there, it doesn't matter what's going on. As you can see, the motor is starting to tilt. Look at that. It's not straight ahead anymore because it's compensating for the current. How cool is that? So it's going to keep me on a true north path. That's what that button is, north. And it's gonna hold me in a straight freaking line. How cool is that, folks? Yeah, it's definitely not straight anymore, it's tilted. That is so awesome. And if you wanna get off of it, you simply hit it again. Whoa! I think I spooked a redfish or something. Now, as you can see, it's a bit unorganized. I've been fishing for like 3 or 4 hours today. But as you can see, it can store a lot of stuff. Speaking of storage, let's talk about this tank well back here. I've got the Black Pack Yak Attack crate, as well as a big old bait bucket and a giant bag. And it's not super well organized, but I could scoot it all up and I could fit a small cooler in here. So this is already a ton of stuff, and I could optimize it even more because honestly, my crate is actually empty, but that's where the electronics are for my lights, for my black box, live scope, display, all that fun stuff. So that's the electronics in there, and it's pretty much empty. I have some camera gear in there, but needless to say, I could probably ditch the bag and put all my tackle in here, but I take the bag on boats and stuff. Anyway, you have a ton of storage. Up in here, you've got all sorts of different cup holders. As you can see, I have a 40-ounce water bottle with a cup holder. One on that side, you've got all sorts of cutouts for everything, pliers, nets, all sorts of fun stuff, as well as dry storage. Now, this is my first gripe with this, is all 4 of my kayaks do this. For some reason, it grinds up against the seat. I love the dry storage function, but I hate how it rubs against the seat. It's so annoying, but you can fit a ton of stuff in there. So that is awesome dry storage, easily accessible. You're just gonna have to pull it back past the seat, which is really annoying. Now moving up and through here, the trolling motor is on the very bow, so you have so much feet space. Now it looks like that table would cut a lot of the legroom out, but it really doesn't, and this is the only kayak in my charter fleet that actually has that table. It just has my live scope, it has my Garmin 106 on there, but plenty of room up front because the trolling motor is shoved here. There's no pedals in your way. That was the number one, the really fancy thousands of dollars. I can't remember the exact model or price, but they're the pedal kind, and they were great, much better than paddling, but the pedals took up the entire floor space. So this, I can actually stand up because it does have a 37-inch beam, which is one of the widest on the market, making it ultra stable. And another thing that this kayak features that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is it's not a flat bottom, it's not a V-hull, it is a pontoon style, which means you've got a pontoon here, it kind of caves in, you got another pontoon here. So you can actually put your weight, if you don't weigh too much, but technically if your balance is good enough, you could stand right on the gunnels there, right on the very edge, and not flip it. Now we catch big 40-inch redfish, plus we catch a lot of big fish on the charter, and we've never had anybody or anything tip, roll over, flip. I've never flipped in the long time I've been catching these fish and out here on these things. So that is good to know that you're probably never gonna flip this thing. You can stand up to fish, and it's ultra stable. Takes on a lot of big weight coming through. I fish inside that channel sometimes. You've got twin engines, triple engines, military boats, all sorts of crazy stuff coming through there, and I handle the wake just fine. Now the handle for the rudder deploy is right there. Let's talk about a couple things that I don't like, because there's a lot of really good reviews because people get free kayaks. This was not a free kayak at all by any means, but we do get a lot of videos and reviews with people getting the free ones. Okay, so up here, this is not dry storage. This is for running your electronics. So if you open that up, that is where my other kayaks hold their batteries so they can power the down and side scan. Dadgummit. That's all right. I'll let them dry out when I get home anyway. So that is not really for you. That is for electronics and running wiring. So that is not dry storage. This plug is extraordinarily sensitive. So the odds of you breaking it if you don't know what you're doing or you just didn't know, you have to be super, super careful with this trolling motor plug. Really careful, because those are known to break. The plug's known to break, the insert's known to break. Just be really careful. Now you can replace them, but why would you want to do that if you don't have to? So not real dry storage, good for electronics. That is really finicky. The dry storage rubs up against the seat. What's another gripe I have with these kayaks? Now, I am kind of splitting hairs here, but if you are going to spend $4,500 on a kayak, it's good to know all of these different things. We've got, of course, tracks everywhere, 2 right there, 2 back here, oversized, extra large rudder, really, really good controls. Oh, I forgot I have a pinfish line out. We got a pinfish down there. That decapitated me. But overall, I am a big, big fan of this kayak. Now, stay tuned. Oh, I just remembered something else that I wasn't a huge fan of. When you buy these kayaks, they come with the battery box down under here, right there, and you plug, there's another plug right there. They come with the battery box, of course, but they don't come with the battery. And I have a $250, $300, 100 amp hour lithium Bluetooth battery under there, so I can check it on my phone and see how we're doing. Real time on the water on the charters, and I like Bluetooth batteries for the chargers in my boats. So it doesn't come with an expensive, $200, $300 lithium battery, additional purchase. Also doesn't come with a paddle for some reason. A kayak that doesn't come with a paddle, who knew? But it doesn't. It's just a $50 Pelican paddle with a fish ruler on it. So that's cool. But other than that, I am a huge fan. The EVA foam stays nice and cool. You've got plenty of scuppers up and through here, under the seat, and in the tank well. And honestly, I don't take on a whole lot of water, but I do have one open today. It gets an A+ for room, comfort, stability. Let's talk about ease of use a little bit, because on the ramp, it is kind of a hassle. You do have a lot of electronics. Mine is a little bit more complicated than most just because I have this extra system back here with the fish finder. But if you do want a fish finder, you're gonna have to connect your battery up here. You're gonna run the wires, which you can do, not too hard to do in it. But let's just forget the electronics. Let's just say you buy one of these used or new and you don't have any bells and whistles on it, no extra electronics, no nothing. Still, you're gonna have to remember to take your battery out, plug it in and charge it when you're done using it. You're gonna have to remember to plug that bad boy in, and you're also gonna wanna unplug it when you're done, so you're gonna have to remember this. Charge your battery, remember to plug it in, and remember to unplug it. Also, up here, the motor comes out, slips into this metal bracket. You've gotta throw this little loop around it. It's a magnetic connector, so that way if you hit something and it comes up, it loses that magnetic connection, and the trolling motor stops moving to prevent damage, so that's good. But you're gonna have to remember, put that on there. Put that plug in that we were talking about earlier, get it in this bracket, and pull it back with this. I'll show you how I deploy it here in a little bit. So you do have to set up the motor and set up the battery. So in terms of just pulling up to a spot and dumping your kayak in and paddling and going out, yeah, you could spend a lot less money if you simply want ease of use. Another thing is, let's talk about the weight. Now, there's a couple models, but basically, long story short, it's gonna be about a 150-pound kayak once you get your battery and your motor in the kayak, and that's not really including gear. There's a couple models, and it varies depending on what you do to it, but I'll pop up the exact dry weight with no battery, no paddle, but motor included on the screen right here. So that is another thing. If you want to car top it, yes, you can take the battery out. Yes, you can take the motor out, which I advise that you do. I do that even when I trailer it. I have a triple trailer for the kayaks. But even then, it's still a heavy kayak. There's no getting around it. It's extremely thick, durable plastic. It's got a big design. It's extra wide, and everything is super high quality. At the end of the day, it is a heavy, heavy kayak, one of the heavier options. So if you are going to car top, if you are older, or you just flat out want a kayak you can toss in the bed of your truck, throw it in the yard, drag it down to a pond, drag it down the beach. Listen, I'm not dragging this thing anywhere. I do have a kayak cart with wheels, but I just prefer to avoid it. I stick to beaches and boat ramps and places that I can launch it because it's a heavy kayak. It is what it is. I mean, you get a lot of awesome extra stuff that many other kayaks on planet Earth don't have, like a spot lock trolling motor, but it is heavy. No getting around it. Other than that, folks, I highly recommend it. I adore these things, but they are definitely the most frustrating kayak I have used for multiple reasons. Would I trade this kayak for any other kayak on the market? No. This is it. This is all I really want. I've tried a lot of other ones and just flat out, I love it. I don't care if it's a little bit heavier. I don't care if there's an extra 60 seconds that you have to do to get it ready once it's, once you want to launch and start fishing. I don't care about any of that because the features on this motor are just flat out awesome.